the ball is in your court. So I hope that you do something with it. Now, remember, you can pass it, you can dribble it, you can shoot it, or that's for basketball or soccer. You can also run with it. That's for football. But it's yours now. So choose wisely, but please do something. The things that get in the way is emotions. Emotions wind up destroying the best laid plans because we as humans are emotional creatures. And the thing I really want you to understand about emotion is the word motion. We tend to do things because we feel a certain way. And that can, as you said in your intro, can destroy the best plan of making a 9, 10, 11, whatever % rate of return, and all get blown out in a day or two because of emotions forcing us as humans to want to do something because things aren't going our way. It's a thought process that has embedded into your mind, into your behaviors as it relates to your relationship that you have with money. Some unfortunate money scripts that some people have adopted and still believe to this day is the concept that money is the root of all evil. Money itself is just a tool. Money, it isn't evil. That's like saying that shovel is evil. Well, I can be evil with the shovel and knock you across the head with it. Now that makes me evil, not the shovel. So money being the root of someone's evil acts, no, greed is the root of their act, or envy is the root of their act. It's not the money itself. Or the concept of money doesn't grow on trees. Tell that to an apple farmer. If I'm an apple farmer, I sell apple. My money absolutely grows on trees.
The numbers don't lie, but they can definitely paralyze you if you don't have a plan. This past weekend, we dropped a massive amount of technical documentation on this channel. Over the 4 hours of the war report, deep dive into the Iran conflict, and the 2-hour One Big Beautiful Bill look back, or maybe One Big Ugly Bill look back, we clocked nearly a week's worth of watch time over just a couple days. So you're leaning in because the institutional fog is thickening. With the Senate set to vote on Kevin Warsh tomorrow and Brent Crude gapping towards the $100 floor, the Main Street investor is looking for a navigator. But know the macro shock is only half the battle. If you don't understand your money script, you'll react with fear when the market requires strategy. Today we're releasing part 2 of our conversation with Yohance Harrison. While the reports over the weekend gave you the geography of the crisis, this conversation gives you the psychology of the recovery. Yohance is a master at identifying the behavioral triggers that keep investors on the sidelines during geopolitical shifts. We're moving past the headlines to ensure your personal ledger is resilient as the institutional ones. Pay close attention in the second half. We're moving away from the economic clock of war and into the behavioral alpha you'll need to survive. Most people spent the weekend studying over the 6 hours of technical breakdowns that were released on the war in real time and the big beautiful bill infrastructure. But Yohance and I are discussing something different. The best data in the world is useless if your behavior isn't aligned with your goals. We're breaking down the difference between noise, signals, and what you should do. If you spent your weekend studying that report, this is the briefing that turns that data into an actionable personal script. Yohance explains why it's a mindset test, your own personal financial battle as a war. So tune in, sit back, enjoy part 2 of your money script with Yohance Harrison.
Now, that's what it looks like now. In previous times, that would be a conversation that I would have with you, very similar to that conversation that I had with that doctor almost 10 years ago when I went independent. And I would say to you, Marcus, let's pretend that you are a physician. Actually, let me back up a second. Find a niche and double down on growing that niche.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, like, it seems like you came out the gate with a niche. Like, you came out with a dot, like, your elevator pitch was already set up.
Yeah, not out the gate in 2001, but out the gate as an independent in 2015? Yeah, I did. Now, did I still take on everybody else? Yes. But I was only willing to invest my marketing dollars and my marketing time into my niche. There's an old saying, it's silly as it sounds, I believe it, your niche will make you rich, okay? So once you have that niche, you're gonna do 3 key things in that niche. Number 1, you're gonna find an advocate or 2 that you already have in your practice that's in that niche. Number 2 is you're gonna start asking directly to other people that may not be in that niche if they know someone in the niche. And number 3, you're gonna find ways to be in places where those niches already gather. That's why I go to the American Academy of Emergency Medicine conference every year. That's why I go to the Society of American Emergency Medicine, I may be saying that wrong, every year. That's why I go to the American College of Emergency Physicians. That's why I go to I'm hosting a graduation for the 3 medical schools that are in my area for the Black students in the medical school. I'm hosting a graduation celebration for them.
Really?
Now, by the way, they're going into residency. They're going to be making like $70,000 a year. Not the ideal client, but they're going to get to see my face, get into my mailing list, and enjoy getting some financial literacy from me as they take on their first paycheck after spending the last 7 to 10 years in school. I'm going to celebrate them for a night. So I'm going to places where those folks are already gathering or creating a gathering for them. If you can do those 3 things in your niche, you do it for 2 or 3 years straight and just keep doubling down, you'll become the subject matter expert, if you will. Probably shouldn't put that in quotation marks. You will become the subject matter expert for that niche in that field. And people will, your clients and your prospects will say, Marcus is the guy. I don't know who you're working with, but Marcus is the guy.
Very.
So early on, before I had it dialed in, Marcus, I would ask you, let's say you were that ER physician or that nurse or what have you, I would ask for the referral in person. I would say, after we got finished filling out your Roth IRA, your 401k, I would ask you something like, this has been a great time working together. What have been your favorite parts of our relationship? We'll play it real quick for the people. So Marcus, what have been your favorite parts of our relationship thus far?
I just love the mental aspect, the psychological help that you've had with me and understanding my money and cash flow and just you being there with.
Marcus, I'm glad you said that. And you're saying things that I hear a lot of other clients say, of being able to work through the mind science of all of this when it comes to your money. And I'm glad that I could help you do that. I'd like to ask you for a favor, Marcus. Have you found that in society that a lot of people are quicker to help someone than they are to actually raise their hand and ask for help?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. I'll help somebody in a minute, but before I ask them, I'm gonna try to change this tire myself before I ask somebody to help me change the tire. And that, I feel that's a societal thing. So I'm gonna get real vulnerable here, Marcus. I need to ask you for some help. Are you open to helping?
Yeah. What kind of help? What?
Okay. So I'm gonna pause there. You see what happened? I haven't even asked Marcus for any help yet. But just because I did that whole setup, most people are willing to give help and ask for help. When you ask that question, 95% of people are going to say, yeah, what do you need? Now, for all I know, I could be coming back to him and say, I need a kidney, but I'm not going to do that. And he probably knows I'm not going to ask for a kidney, but we already, we've kind of set it up to a place where he's like, okay, yeah, I want to help you. Marcus, back in the role play. Marcus, I'd like your help in getting to meet other professionals like you. And we can do this in a few different ways. One is, if you can think of anybody off the top of your head, maybe someone like yourself that recently got married, has a kid, has a kid from a previous marriage that's going to college, or someone that just bought a house, whatever, I fill in the blank, whatever it is that's in their situation, I duplicate and say, maybe you know someone else in that scenario. More than likely they do. So that's number one. Number two, I want to know, where do people like you in your profession, where do you meet? Where do you gather? I know you're in the medical field, so I'm sure you have to do some sort of medical continuing education, just like we do in finance. How do you get your continuing education done? Where does it happen? And then finally, if you were me and you were looking to build a financial planning business centered around people in fill in the blank profession, how would you go about doing it? And I just sit back and listen. I have a pen or something. I'm writing down whatever it is they say. I had one doctor one year, I asked that to. This was early in my career. And I said to her, she was an OBGYN. I said, if you were me, how would you go about building a planning career? And she said, oh, I'll just do what the pharmaceutical reps do. I was like, what do the pharmaceutical reps do? She said, hey, go door to door. Show up with, some bagels, some donuts, some coffee, whatever. They'll let you right in. I was like, So for a year, every Wednesday, I would go to Krispy Kreme Donuts, pick up a few dozens of donuts. I go to Starbucks, pick up a few pounds of coffee, and I would drive to a medical office park and I would knock on the door. And you know what? She was right. They assumed, because I'm in a suit and I got donuts and coffee, that I'm a pharmaceutical rep. They would lead me right to the kitchen of that doctor's office. I passed everybody like, oh, come on back. Don't wait out there, honey. Come on back. Next thing you know, the nurses are in there. They're grabbing donuts, grabbing coffee. And like, oh, so what drug you repping today? Actually, I'm a financial advisor. I work with Dr. So-and-so. And she said it'd probably be a good idea to come over here and meet with Dr. whomever. Okay, let me get the doctor for you. It was that easy. Now, guess what? Guess what? 0 clients from doing that for a whole year. But you know what I did get really comfortable with? Talking to strangers, talking to doctors, also getting chased out of buildings by security. I got good at that too. However, that was in 2003, 2004. Last fall, I'm hosting the fundraising, again, showing up to where people already are. I was voluntold as a speaker, and like, can you be the host for our annual fundraiser for the National Medical Association chapter that's here in Dallas. Sure. Okay. Doing my thing, hosting, we're raising money, we're having a good time. As I'm walking around between some of the intermissions, a doctor comes up to me and she said, "You don't remember me, do you?" Lady, there's like 800 people in this room. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't. You knocked on my door with donuts and coffee 20 years ago. And then it hit. I was like, because she was someone that actually we started to go down the path and then she went in another direction. And she said, "I wish I had listened to you back then." And I was like, wow, talking about full circle moment. So now she still hasn't scheduled her next appointment. There's that. But the fact that I left a lasting enough impression on her 20 years ago that she was still thinking about the things I said to her that she did not take action on to this day. And for her, I was trying to get her to set up a 401k for employees back in 2004. So apparently, I don't know if she ever did it, and I didn't ask her in that moment. But she said, "I wish I had listened to you."
Yeah, the 401k is good too. Yeah, that's thorough and that's intentional. And like you said, you spent a lot of time in your process, I'm sure, iterating it with more iterations till you get to the point where you're at now with your referral your referral process. And a lot of that, like you said, is process. So it seems like you have a lot of process inside of it. I know we're running up on time here. I want to take another couple seconds here. Like you said, you have 300 clients or 300 households. I know we both use, well, I'm assuming you use Altruist. I use Altruist for a custodian over here. Both use Altruist. Generally, we talk about the markets here a little bit. We kind of just went down your journey because it's so cool and so like expansive. But back in February, when all this market stuff started to happen, there was a huge, one of the things that happened in there was Hazel. You've used Hazel a good bit. People seem to think that Hazel is coming for financial advisors' lunches. I think Hazel is a tool to help enhance financial advisors. Um, what would you share with anyone about Hazel? Maybe how it can help, or the pros and cons, and if it's coming to the fence, destroying the.
I am a huge believer that, and let's look at it, the big picture, and not just single out Hazel, but let's just look at the AI as a general. And I think this is true for most professions, is that the AI tools will replace the professionals that don't know how to use it.
Say that again.
AI tools will be replaced by the people, the professionals that know how to use it. Okay. So the tool itself isn't going to replace anyone, but the people that know how to use it will replace those that don't. Full stop.
Mic drop.
So professionals, if you have AI entering into your space, I encourage you to learn how to adopt it and use it quick. I mean, unfortunately, though, there are some professions that will get replaced by the computers and technology. But that has been true since the dawn of time. Because don't forget, horses were all replaced by cars. Okay.
But we still have horses.
We still have horses. But one could also say that we thought that Uber was going to replace all the taxis. Now, yeah, you could say that some taxi companies aren't worth what they used to be, but a driver is a driver is a driver. So the technology, it just shifts. It shifts over time. So I encourage, from an advisor perspective, having these tools. And by the way, the medical field is having the same.
Hey, we're going to pause the strategy for just a second. If you're just joining us, you stepped into a massive week for the channel. This weekend, we released over 6 hours, almost 7 hours of documentation or contemporary times from the War Report and then looking back at the One Big Beautiful Bill Act as it was before happening and as it was signed. Response has been unprecedented. We've clocked a ton of watch hours. And we have a lot of people reaching out wanting to come on the show. It's a great thing. They're reaching out because they see what you see. The Main Street perspective is now the primary source for the Warsh pivot and these crazy oil projections. How do we take this stuff back to the dinner table? If you aren't subscribed yet, hit that button right now. We're one of the few platforms reconciling this global shock for the retail investor. Don't just watch the news. Understand the ledger. Back to the great conversation with Yohance.
Conversation. So I'm sitting in on their CMEs. They're having the same conversations we're having in the exact same way I said it as well. Having a note taker enhances and improves the relationship with because you allow your brain to not have to remember things it can just read. I don't have to remember all the kids' birthdays that my client said. I don't have to remember, for instance, I'll give you a great example, and I've shared this several instances. I have a client that just celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary. 60, that's a big number.
especially today.
Well, I had an R&D conversation coming up with the client, and I'm using Hazel to prep for it. And one of the things that Hazel said to me, because it was just reading it from my notes, is that it's the couple's 60th wedding anniversary. Had Hazel not pulled that from deep in the recesses of my notes, and the only what it pulled it from was the fact that 5 years earlier, when I met them, it happened to be their 55th. And you think I was counting for the 56 to 57, 58, 59? It's like, no, I wasn't, because COVID was also happening in that time frame. But I wasn't counting. But I got to start the conversation with happy 60th wedding anniversary. And she cried because I remembered. And I didn't have the guts to tell her that I didn't remember. Hazel did, but I can read.
No, that's very cool.
But what it led to was her giving a referral, actually, because she started to tell what she's doing. I created a conversation. What are you doing? Oh, we're actually going out this other couple. It's their 50th wedding anniversary. We're going to celebrate together 110 years. As a matter of fact, I should probably introduce you to them. I mean, sure. Here, I'll send your info right now. Okay, thank you. I didn't even ask for it, but it all started with me leading with that empathy. Now, that's something the AI could have sent them an automatic happy anniversary. It wouldn't have got the same response.
Right.
The AI prompted me to be a human and to say happy 60th anniversary. So that's where I'm saying the folks that know how to use and implement the AI as the note taker, to be able to read notes and regurgitate data and parse data down to ways that it's usable and actionable, they're going to be able to attract and keep more relationships than the people that are still focused on old means that are during the meeting. Because I know a lot of meetings have been happening on Zoom since COVID, but if you're spending the whole meeting with your eyes down because you're looking at what you're typing and all this other stuff versus looking at the body language of the person that's in that Zoom meeting, or the same thing of when you're in a meeting with them face to face, if you have your note taker there and it's recording the meeting and you're able to look at them instead of looking at what you're typing and look and doing all these other things, and you can actually have the human connection, being confident that the conversation is going to be captured so you can go back and you can parse through that data later in order to create your financial plan, you're going to have better outcomes, I think, in the long run, because you're going to pick up on some of those little things that sometimes as a human you will miss. So with Hazel, yes, I've been to Hazel a little bit longer because I was in the what do you call it, the beta testing for it. But Hazel is a great tool. There's other great tools out there as well. Not to, I'm not just going to make this a Hazel commercial. They do pay me though. So
No, go deeper on Hazel. It's fine.
But Hazel has a new mode that just came out. Has some new things that came out called modes, where you can actually, for instance, in ChatGPT, we can create these different versions of it that do different things. So now I have a creator mode, I have a financial planner mode, I have an investment advisor mode. So it allows me to be able to do things a lot faster than I did before, because I can take the whole portfolio and throw it in that the client has, and then throw in the other portfolio that maybe I'd be recommending and say, all right, compare these portfolios using Alpha or using whatever. And it just spits it out. Where I would still used to use a program to do it. So the computer was still doing it, but it was a more manual process. Or if if a client has, 13 different mutual funds in their 401k, 37 different mutual funds in their 401k. And I'm like, hey, we need to build a portfolio. Here's my model portfolio. Which funds do I use? Why would I take the time to do that when typically I was using a Morningstar? I was using a computer model anyway. And guess what Hazel's doing? It's going to go look at Morningstar. Looking at Morningstar, it's saving time. It's saving time.
It's saving money.
It's saving so much money. So I can spend more time with my clients. So I can spend more time giving my clients either virtual hugs or real hugs, because I don't have to spend the time with all the other stuff that, again, it's going to get done, has to get done anyways. But now I just have a faster way of doing it. It's like, if someone to say, hey, I don't want to use Hazel, or I don't want to use any of the note takers or the Zocs or the Jump AI, any of them, that's like saying, I don't want to use that printer, I'll use the typewriter. And the typewriter, don't get me wrong, the typewriter, given my age now, I had a typewriter.
No typewriters.
Okay, so for those that know typewriters, or listeners, for those that know typewriters, but do you remember the word processor? In the word processor, we went from typing one letter at a time on the page to they had a chunk of characters that you could store in that word processor, and had a tiny little screen that only showed 2 rows of characters at a time, but it would tell you how many you get, like, I don't know, I'm gonna make it up, 700 words or something into that little tiny little box there. And then you could hit one button and then it would just print. But once we got a word processor in our house, our typewriter gathered dust. No one ever said, oh, let's go pull out the old typewriter. No, we're using a word processor. And then when the computer came in, that it was a brother processor, it gathered dust. I never once said, no, 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 no. I don't want to hit print so it prints my entire book report at once. I don't want to see all the pages of it on the screen. No, I don't want to do that. I want to go back to one letter at a time because it feels natural. It feels human. No. I feel the same way about Hazel. I don't want to go back. I don't want to spend that time that now I spend. I'll share this and we get off of this for a second. And if this doesn't hit home for folks, then find a different home. The time that I've saved by implementing Hazel into my practice has afforded me the ability to become my daughter's soccer coach.
Nice.
Now I have 2 kids. Okay. For those that are listening, I'm pointing to the picture of them behind me.
Beautiful children.
One's a 24-year-old. Okay. Learning how to be an adult human. The other will be 9 in a couple weeks. And time is the one commodity that I cannot renew. I can go to sleep and wake up with more energy. I can eat, I can get more energy. I can drink coffee and get some sort of energy, I think. I think that's what I'm getting from it. I can make more money. I can spend it and make it back. I can invest and make more. But there is nothing I can do to create more time. All I can do is make changes in my life today so that I'm able to assign or align, do things to do with the time that I don't have to spend doing anything that I used to do with that time. So implementing Hazel has saved me over 900 hours a year.
Wow.
I decided to give 80% of those hours to my daughter. My days end early on Monday, my days end early on Thursdays, and then we got games every weekend.
Wow. How's your team?
We've lost every game. But that's also the joy in it. Because, hey, I got something to look forward to. But we're not last in the league this year. We are next to last.
Oh, okay. I
Sorry.
got you.
But I mean, they're 8 and 9-year-old girls.
I got you. No, trust me, I understand. I got a whole flock of children around here running around too. That coached my 6-year-old's team. We won the championship this year, just so you know. But it was
Okay, so basketball. I did that with basketball. So I did it with my daughter,
Yeah.
but basketball was just one day a week. We didn't have practice. So soccer's real.
Yep.
So soccer, we're practicing all this stuff. So and I had a little. I have a little ragtag bunch. They're starting to come together. They're starting to come together.
It's just crazy how life changes to where like that's, like you said, 20 years ago when you were at Ameriprise, like you weren't there was no way you were going to take off and be able to coach your son's team. You had to eat and kill what you were eating.
Well, yeah, no, and that was actually what forced me. One of the things that forced me out of leadership is that my leadership obligations, I had no control over my schedule. And so my son, when he became a teenager, he got heavily involved in theater. And so I wanted to be at all of his theatrical events and be there with him at practice. But I could only do that when I had control of my time, which I didn't until most days after 7:00 because of just what was involved in managing an office of advisors. And that's ultimately what kind of led to my eyes there is that I wanted to have. So I started to take the time. I didn't have a tool to adjust my lifestyle. So I started taking the time, and that's when the conflict was created. But now I have a tool that can help me adjust my lifestyle. So then I can so I can just have not take it. Excuse me. Let's change my language there. Now I don't have to take the time. I have the time. It's there for me, and I get to choose what I want to do with it instead of saying I got to move this to this and take away from this and that. No, it's like, wait, I didn't spend any of that time doing research this week. Huh. Interesting. I wonder what I'll do with my time. Let's go play some soccer.
Yeah, time's a very valuable thing, man. That's a beautiful story. And people don't, that doesn't hit with anyone until you have kids, you'll understand. There are probably maybe some listeners who don't have kids, but I think most of our listeners probably have some children.
If you don't have kids, no, there's someone that you love. And whoever that is, person that you love, you probably love spending time with them. How much more fulfilling would your relationship be with that individual if you could offer more?
Exactly.
And if you're taking it from somewhere, it's like, now you're just putting something off. You're saying, oh, instead of going to the gym, I'm going to go hang out with you. Well, now you're putting off your own health. Or, oh, I'm going to move that meeting. Well, now that meeting, you still got to have that meeting eventually. But if all of a sudden you are able to do things differently, so you just have more time, now you get to choose how you want to fill that time. So that's what happened. I looked at, actually, I'll say one other thing on it. So then back to the note taker. Advisors, if you don't have a compliant note taker, start arguing with your compliance to find one. because there's many different, there's Contio now, which is much different than some of the other ones. Of course, I said there's Jump, there's Zox, there's Nitrogen has a note taker. There's so many note takers out. Wealthbox has a note taker now. Everybody has a note taker. But the note taker and the note taker's ability to create my follow-up emails with a click of a button, that allowed me to see more appointments per day. Because I used to keep 30 minutes to an hour post every meeting to do all the follow-up stuff. Well, now I have maybe 15 minutes in between meetings. So all of a sudden, instead of it taking 8 hours to do 6 meetings, it's now taking 5 hours to do the same 6 meetings. Because I was able to condense the time. So now all of a sudden I have time. It's like I sit down and it was like, oh, well, day's done. What do I want to do? Well, daughter's not out of school yet. I don't know. Maybe I'll just sit here and stare at the computer, or I'll do a podcast or whatever.
Let's say hop on the call with Marcus.
Yeah. Because now I have time.
You have freedom, time. It's a beautiful thing because, like you said earlier in life, people have to trade the two things off, one or the other. And there are certain things where you still have to make choices as whether it's more time or more with the money. Like you said, if you put the meeting off, you still have to have the meeting eventually. And if you don't have the meeting, if you stop having meetings, eventually you're not going to have a practice. Speaking of the practice, and man, I know we're running a little long here. Tell us like how your practice is run today, like what your practice looks like. I imagine you started solo and kind of expanded a little bit. And then I guess you can just tell Main Street where to find you, what you're doing, how things are going.
Yeah, no problem. So when I started my independent practice in 2015, actually somewhere in there.
You haven't said the name of your practice yet.
Well, I've kind of alluded to it, so I'll say the full thing. So I
Okay.
started in 2015. And in 2015, it was just Harrison Financial Services. Like I actually piggybacked on another financial advisor. The name of his group was Luminous 8 Financial Advisor, something like that. I forgot. And he had some life things that happened, and it kind of helped me because again, I was piggybacking. He was a springboard to just help me develop enough capital, get enough capital so I could go do a deal with a Schwab, with a TD, with a Fidelity, that sort of thing. And so it was shortly after that happened is when I founded MoneyScript Wealth Management. So MoneyScript Wealth Management is my practice. And once I kind of got everything under wraps, this was in 2017, my wife went on maternity leave from her job because the little one's about to be born. And I asked her if she could help me because I needed to find some help. So, and she said, sure, I'm not doing anything. What do you want? I said, is monster.com still a thing? And she said, well, there's other ones now. I said, well, here's the job description. I need you to go post this so I can find an assistant. And so I gave her the job description and she waddled off because she was 9 months pregnant. So she did waddle and she's okay with me saying that. She waddled off and she came back at the end of the day with a folder. She came back in the day with a folder and
Whew. Let's take a quick breather. If you made it nearly 30 minutes into this conversation with Yohance, you're part of the high conviction group that makes this channel different. Someone asked me what's special about what we do. It's you. And the data shows that when people dive into our deep dives, they're staying for nearly an hour. And they're texting these links to their colleagues. So to make sure that everyone has this intelligence on the go, download and follow Main Street Meets Wall Street on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Buzzsprout, anywhere you get your podcasts. Or check out the YouTube channel, Sturdivant For those of you who need to move beyond the theory and into application of your own portfolio or firm, head on over to our website, theabcsquared.com, where we're just translating this institutional jargon you hear in the war report into actionable strategies for your personal money script. You can also check out Yohance over at the Money Script. We have a lot more to get into with Yohance regarding the psychology of a wartime economy, or just psychology in general, because it's like we've been at constant war with affordability here for the last few years. So make sure you're following us on YouTube and Apple so you don't miss the Warsh confirmation, interest rates, and all the things that's coming up. Now, let's get back to it.
In it, I could see there was a piece of paper and I was like, what is that? She said, I found your resume. I was like, that was quick. Wow, you're good. All right, well, let's see what it is. And she said, okay, wait, let me prepare you a little bit. And I'm like, it must be good. It's just one. And she opens it up and it's her resume. And I look at her like, are you sure you want to do this? And she said, I am sure. She said, we're going to have to talk to our therapist about it a little bit, but I'm sure. So, okay, great. So she was the first hire. So she joined the firm in 2017, and immediately after she got on board, she realized we needed to hire someone else. So she became basically my operations manager, and then she hired my assistant, and then she hired a account specialist, and then she hired a bookkeeper, and she just most recently hired herself an assistant. So we're now a team of 6. And so I'm the financial advisor, and everyone else runs support to help make sure that we're providing our clients with everything that they need. So as I mentioned, it's actually over 300. I think it's like 300 and maybe 330 households we're working with right now. Um, Practice has been steady growing at about 20% a year. If you're looking at the revenue numbers, have good satisfaction scores and all that good stuff with our clients. And that's just because, it's a real relationship that we're creating with individuals. And we are a financial planning first firm. So we believe everyone should start their relationship with a financial plan. We'll also do investments and do the insurance, but we want to start with a plan. Solid 90% of our clients do start with a financial plan. We also believe in estate planning. My wife and I have both been in situations where we lost very close family members that didn't have the right estate planning, and it just turned into headaches for us. And being that she's the, what's the word, matriarch of her family, and I'm the patriarch of mine, everything fell on us. So now we believe that no one should have to go through what we went through, especially if you have the means and wits about you to be able to handle it up front. So I am happy to say that in the past, say about 3 years or so, we've helped just shy of 200 clients put an estate plan in place. So yeah, we eat our own cooking too, because we redid our estate plan. So like I said, not only president, I'm also a client.
Right.
So yeah, so that's what it looks like. So if you're looking for me, here I go. Where can you find me? So if you're an advisor, you want to find me on Only Human Podcasts. So that's a podcast where we talk about implementing AI and different technology and tools when you're building a practice. So I interview other advisors, also interview other technology providers as well, and even some marketing providers, because again, AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's not. The train has left the station. So that if you're an advisor, you want to check out the Only Human podcast. If you're a physician and somehow you happen to hear this podcast random, don't know how you got here, but welcome. Glad you had fun. Check out Become an Attending, another channel that I offer again for physicians. And it doesn't matter. You don't have to be an emergency physician, because you all go through the same process: medical school, residency, attending. And so we talk about the financial mistakes that are made during that time. And then if you are just a regular old individual that's not an advisor, not a physician, and you just want to pick up some financial literacy, I do have the Money Script podcast, where I interview people from all walks of life, and we talk about money scripts. We talk about behavioral finance. We talk about just money in general. And so I like to interview people from all aspects. I've got an author I'm interviewing later that's they just launched a book. I've got couple ex-NFL players I've interviewed as well, talking about their journey coming from the NFL and their new business that they're creating. It's just, like I said, it's a little bit of something for everyone. And I do that one just because I love educating people in financial literacy.
Very cool, man. That's good stuff. And you didn't even mention, let me make sure I say this right. Your book, let me make sure I say this right. More Than Money, Volume 2. You're co-authoring a book. Tell the viewers about this, listeners about this.
More Than Money Volume 2 is a collection of financial advisors that are telling stories that they have, or experiences that they've had with clients. So we each came up with a client story. We got together as a cohort and we came up with client stories, and we kind of voted on which ones we thought were most impactful. So I wrote a story called When It Rains, It Pours. It's about one of my physicians who had to go through Hurricane Harvey when she was first starting her job as a physician in Houston. So I won't give away too much in that. If you want to check out the book, it'll be out in July, I think is when it's coming out. But like I said, it's a collection of stories, and it was a springboard for me so that I can have the confidence to write my own book. So that's what I'm working on now, which is going to be similar to the collection of stories, but really just my own stories. So my stories, some client stories, and then some financial lessons that are woven in between that.
Very cool book coming out in July. Do you have a title for your book, or is that a secret?
No, I have a few working titles. So the working title right now that I'm kind of feeling it, kind of not feeling it, and everybody's gonna have their own opinion on it. But the working title right now is God's Gift. So my name, Yohance, the phonetic pronunciation, it's Swahili, and it's Swahili for God's Gift. So that's kind of the working title right now, and kind of one that's been at the top. So I don't know. Something else might come as I'm going through it, but that's where we are right now.
Okay. Very cool. And that's what, next year sometime? I don't know how
I
long it
hope.
takes to write a book.
I mean, I will admit, I didn't keep to my writing schedule while I was traveling, so now I'm technically 7 days behind on my writing schedules. No promises on that. I will say that at the latest, it'll be the end of 2027, so about 18 months from now.
Yeah, it's next year. No worries. I gave it the whole year. Very
Okay.
cool. Yeah, very cool, yo. Say the phonetic pronounce.
Yohance. So I'm cool with Yohance, Yohance, or Yo. If you say Yohance, we're gonna have problems. You're gonna have to feel these hands. So yeah, Yohance, Yohance are the phonetic pronunciations that I'll accept.
Are we on the It Is What It Is podcast? You grabbing people and throwing them down like you did, Cameron? I
Hey
don't
man,
know if you've seen that, but you
I
should look that
just
one up.
saw it. I was like, whoa. I mean, that's kind of what you expect between him and J. Cole when they got together. But yeah, I still have questions. I still have questions to how real it was.
Right, it kind of looked like Will Smith's slap for those who like when you
Yeah,
first saw him, you're like, was that real? Was that? I guess time will tell. I mean, they are going to WrestleMania. I digress.
yeah. I mean, yeah. So
Yohance, if I really thank you, appreciate your time. For those who don't know, I've stolen Yohance way more of his time. Like he just mentioned, that's one of his most valuable commodities, as it should be with everyone. Anything else you want to tell Main Street, Yohance?
no, I want to tell Main Street that you have now been given some strategies, some ideas, some tools. So you get to remove a couple of excuses right now. You can't say you didn't know. You can't say that there wasn't any resources because you just got it. Okay. So now, as we say in the old sports analogy, the ball is in your court. So I hope that you do something with it. Now, remember, you can pass it, you can dribble it, you can shoot it, or that's for basketball or soccer. You can also run with it. That's for football. But it's yours now. So choose wisely, but please do something.
There you go. Just don't fumble the bag. He just told you how to get it. So Main Street, Heart meets Wall Street Smarts. Main Street meets Wall Street podcast. Thanks for having you on, Yohance Harrison. He's a monster. And we didn't even have a chance to talk about the CFP and all those things. So we'll have to have you back on again.
Well, yeah, so once it's official on there and I can put it at the end of my name, we'll talk about it again.
Gotcha. I don't know. This is coming out next week, so we'll see.
Next week, so we'll see.
All right. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
That wraps up part 2 with Yohance Harrison. As we discussed today, the money script is what ultimately determines if you capitalize on a global shock or get crushed by it. We are entering a historic 48-hour window between the Senate vote on Kevin Warsh tomorrow and this $100 floor currently sitting under crude oil. The institutional fog is only going to get thicker. This past weekend, we provide over 6 hours of documentation from the 4-hour war report and over 2 hours of the One Big Beautiful Bill look back to give you a geography of this crisis. Now, if you found value in this conversation, do 3 things right now. 1, subscribe and hit the bell. We got major industry guests requests to come on the show right now. So these next few episodes are going to be live. You'll need to be notified the second we actually do go live. Also, follow on Apple Podcasts. Search for Main Street Meets Wall Street. Our data shows that professionals are texting these episodes to one another at a record pace. Take that intelligence with you on your commute. Also available anywhere you get your podcasts. And then also you can visit our website if you need to reconcile these micro shocks with your personal or firm strategy. That's where we really turn the jargon into action. So over at theabcsquared.com. The story of Hormuz isn't getting any straighter, and the national debt isn't getting any smaller. You have the data, you have the psychology. Now you need the discipline. Click the video on your screen right now to head back into the war report and see the technical breakdown. I'm Sturdivant Sr. I'll see you next time. Main Street Heart meets Wall Street Smarts. If you've been tracking the Value Weekend Mega Launch with over 6 hours of documentation from the war report and the One Big Beautiful Bill look back, you know the technicals are getting deeper. Following our deep dive into behavioral psychology with Yohance Harrison, we're shifting a little bit more towards the tech side, the legislative. Stick around, because now we're going to play an exclusive first looking at the upcoming conversation with Kevin Thompson. Kevin's an EA as well as a financial planner, meaning he's an enrolled agent, which means he's able to argue in front of the Supreme Court for your taxes, any recommendations he makes on your returns. The war report gives you the geography of the crisis. Kevin and I are getting into the tax receipts. Like I said, with the Kevin Warsh confirmation vote set for tomorrow, and the $100 oil floor being set, the Main Street investor is about to face a massive tax efficiency challenge. In this preview, we're going to cover the one big, beautiful Bill Act tax strategy. We're going to go deep into the math most advisors are skipping. So if you have 5 minutes, take a second and listen to Kevin explain why it's your money if you're getting a tax return. Also coming up, we have the Business Insider. We're going live with him, Samuel Brink, and just a slew of guests coming up. I have a guy coming on who's going to explain his position that says AI is a bubble. We're in the middle of a 17-year bull run, and we're going to talk about what happens if, say, our bubble busts. So if you got a few minutes, check out some of the things Kevin's going to give you. They're actually actionable strategies that you could implement today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Share this with people. Keep the movement going. And if they ask you why it's special, tell them it's the community. It's you all. That's what makes this special.
Well, just think about this way. Like if you're saying you're giving me, so from the OBBBA, so it was July 4th when it passed, right? July 4th, 2025, I believe. What happens is there's a change in regards to the withholdings. The withholdings need to be adjusted. The withholdings for the 2025 weren't adjusted on the IRS code. So what happens now is that you have over withholding happening for the majority of the rest of the year. So people were over withholding from July to December. So now, with that being said, you file your taxes, you see this, oh, I get $3,000 or $2,000. That is your money. That's not like it's some magical potion that the government just gave you. That's just your money from over withholding. You gave the government an additional amount of your check to hold on for you so they can give it right back to you. Tax-free, interest-free, by the way. And yeah, that's all that means.
Right, and people tend to miss that whole point. Like I'm going to get a big refund at the end of the year. Like you probably want your taxes balanced out with your withholdings where you're not getting any refund at the end of the year, because that means you have your money, like you said, where you can actually put it somewhere where you're earning interest or some type of income from this money, or at least you have your money if you need it.
1,000%.
At that point. Yeah. At that point. Anything else you want to expand on with the OBBBA?
I call it the O3B to make it simple for us, right? But
O3B, the Russell Jones.
I just really feel like you know what? I told somebody this a couple of days ago. I said, I read a lot. I keep myself educated, keep myself informed. And I said, sometimes I wish I was the person that just walked around and like, okay, everything's good. You know what I mean? Like just ignorance is bliss, right? And this is one of those things when you read the bill. I've read it multiple times and it's a bunch of pages, and you can chat GPT or Claude or whatever you want to use. And yeah, man, it's just you start seeing the holes in the plan. The benefit is for people like me, this is great. I told people this all the time. I said, hey, I'm not upset. I mean, I get a QBI deduction. I get the bonus depreciate stuff. I get to write off all my expenses. This is a wonderful thing. But for a W-2 person, whatever, you know, there's no real move for you. So yeah, this is basically just been a tax cut for businesses. 100%.
Got you. And even one of the bigger things, like you said, with the senior deduction, if it's not itemized, I was having this conversation with some seniors in my family. You know, I was talking about I was like, you should be getting bigger refunds, right? They're like, well, once we itemized it didn't come out to any type of bigger refund, so we just deduction. It's like, yeah, goodness. And then you have the SALT, right? You want to expand on that maybe a little bit. That doesn't particularly help anyone B2 unless maybe you have multiple homes or something that's actually taxed. So what's your thoughts on the SALT portion of that? Because that was a big part where everyone.
Well, SALT, you know why they did SALT, right? You know why hey man, these blue states, New York and California, I don't like them. So I got to get after them, right? So and now it's helping them out just a little bit more because there's a high tax states, right? You got high property taxes and things like that. So yeah, it does help. And if you're itemizing, that definitely helps in those situations. So yeah, I see it helping just a tad bit for some of those individuals, especially if you can start writing off your state and local taxes. Again, majority of people use standard deduction, especially here in Texas, and there's just really no additional benefit. Now, like from our standpoint, standard deduction plus enhanced deduction, if you're a retiree, plus you have another $1,600 or so per person or whatever for senior deduction. I mean, you get up to $47,000 to $48,000 of standard deductions coming down. Now, here's something that I think is funny. If you just have Social Security income coming in, you're not going to pay taxes. right? You're not going to pay taxes if that's your only income. But guess what? You didn't pay taxes in 2024. You didn't pay taxes in 2023. You didn't pay taxes for a long period of time. It's always been that way if that was your only income source, because you've had standard deduction reducing your taxes. And of course, the formula for Social Security. But now it's so like, hey, no Social Security tax. I'm like, man, you want to hit the screen, and I don't. I'm like, you know what? I'm turning it off, and I turn the TV off when I hear that kind of stuff all the time.